is going on, everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of the No Cell Wrestling Podcast. I am going to be one of your hosts, Jeremy, also known as Home, and I'm joined by Billy.
Hi.
And we're going to be talking all things wrestling from Raw to Smackdown to AEW, NXT, wrestling news, and everything in between. So, let's
NWA
get.
Power Hour.
Yeah, we're not going to be doing that. So, let's get into it. Um, there's actually it's been quite the news-filled week this week for wrestling. WWE announced some of the 2019 Hall of Fame class with Batista and the NWO with Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, and X-Pac.
And 71 other members. We have a
Not quite all of
76
them.
person class.
Not quite that many, but yeah. So, what do you think about Batista getting in?
I like that Batista got in. He was sort of ending his original run with wrestling when I started getting into it, but he's always been a monster. He was always someone who, even when I wasn't watching wrestling, I knew who Batista was.
Yeah, that is true. He was a very big name.
Yeah.
And,
I started watching wrestling around the summer of Punk. Like, that was the first story I remember really paying attention to was Christian and Randy Orton's one more match and John Cena versus R-Truth at Capital Punishment.
Yeah, so I started watching around the mid-2000s, so I grew up with Batista, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, and so...
Yeah, Smackdown was huge
Yeah,
then.
SmackDown was the thing to be back then with Undertaker, Batista.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely deserving a big name. And then the NWO, Hulk Hogan's, I think, second time making it. X-Pac's third time making it now with DX and his individual induction.
But, I mean, the thing with NWO is that was more WCW. Is this a WWE or WWE-owned thing, Hall of Fame?
That's a good point. I mean, with the WWE Hall of Fame,
I mean, it's
Donald
really
Trump-
an
our
arbitrary
President Donald
thing. Yeah,
Trump's in it,
our
so-
president, Donald Trump, is a WWE Hall of Famer. That's hysterical. Who else is in the WWE Hall of Fame? Let me look this up real quick. We should have done that before.
I'd imagine some athletes are in it.
Isn't Mike Tyson in it?
Yeah.
Let's see, who's in it? Andre the Giant was the first inductee, apparently. Gorilla Monsoon's there. When does it start getting funny? Come on. Wait. Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay, never mind. I just see the Grand Wizard, and I'm confused here.
Okay. Well, anyways, moving along. So I don't know if you saw the other day, but Rikishi was trending on Twitter
Yeah, he was trending.
for no reason for his own.
He was trending because Lizzo showed up at a Lakers game.
With a giant T-shirt that had the back cut out, so her butt was showing, and then the Lakers decided to throw her on the jumbotron, and it became a whole thing.
I mean, someone made a good point that we're going crazy about that happening, but imagine paying like $8,000 to sit courtside at a Lakers game, being a few rows back, and every time she stands up, you see her. And Drew Carey is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh my goodness.
Donald Trump's there. Mr. T is in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's in. He was inducted by Triple H. Snoop Dogg was inducted by John Cena.
It's the easiest thing to get into, and it really doesn't make any sense.
Kid Rock got inducted last year.
Oh my god.
Wait, Primo's in the Hall of Fame?
You're joking.
What's his last name?
Colon?
Oh, no, that's not him then. Never mind.
Oh my god.
I was going to say, hold on. No, that's not that, Primo.
So, WWE released a tweet this week with some new releasings. Sin Cara and Luke Harper have officially been released from the company.
Luke Harper is going to pop up in AEW. Sin Cara's probably going to go back to Mexico, so he's close to home.
Which is good for him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And,
no, the guy, I forget how old he is. He's like up there in age. He's made plenty of money. He had shoes that sold with WWE for some reason. So
Oh,
I mean,
I didn't even know
kids
that.
love Sin Cara. They love the masks. So. I sound like
Yeah,
Vince. The kids
and
love him. God damn it! But
he did a bunch of high
but
school
yeah, he
spots.
did some cool spots. He had a pretty good WWE run. Everyone can't be a top guy, so just being someone that's reliable that they'll send out there every show is worth something.
That's very true.
I saw Baron
And
Corbin talk about that's the spot he wants to be in. He wants to be a guy where you can send him out to have a match with anyone, and he's going to show up 300 plus days a year.
that's good.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of why I don't hate Baron Corbin, as obnoxious as some of the things he does are.
So yeah, Sin Cara was a good worker. I know he wasn't too well liked in the back because of all the botches and
I've heard that
language
he's a,
barriers and struggles that he had with matches.
I've heard that he's like legitimately a really tough guy that would beat the hell out of people.
But like you said, Luke Harper is.
He's gonna show up somewhere. He's still got years of good wrestling. He's still a real good worker.
Yeah, just being left
He's
behind on WWE.
he's from around
Marty
here, so I
Scurll,
like him.
who is. Go ahead.
He's from around here, somewhere in the 585, so I like him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's the local guy. He'd come back.
Local dude for you.
He returned. I was actually at the show. He came back, and people were excited because, oh my God, Luke Harper's back. He returned and beat up on Mojo Rawley while he was here, and then they didn't really do much with him.
Yeah. Nice.
But it was pretty cool.
But,
Everyone likes him here.
Yeah.
He was on some local
and-
radio show around that time.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And Marty Scurll, who looks to be AEW bound, posted a picture on his Instagram the other day with him and Luke Harper. So I think everyone kind of sees that Luke Harper is probably going to AEW, which would be good for him.
I mean, it's still not a guarantee that Marty Scurll is going to AEW, but yeah, probably. Ring of Honor could cut him a check. I've seen people saying that Triple H would love to have a member of the Elite, which
that would be insane.
That'd be insane. I mean, he's one of the biggest stars in wrestling, and he's probably the hottest free agent right now. So there's going to be money being thrown at him. I don't see him going anywhere but to AEW. But I mean, it'd be pretty crazy if he showed up in NXT, even with that main event picture as crowded as it is. He'd find somewhere to fit in.
For sure. And then lastly for the news, actually just found out this about 30 minutes ago. The WWE has suspended Robert Roode and Primo Colon for violating the wellness policy for 30 days, each of them.
Actually, I thought Robert Roode was hurt because I saw when he was coming out for his match, I think it was against Roman, Dolph Ziggler said, "This one's for you, Robert Roode." So I thought he was hurt, but yeah, that makes sense. I mean, came out of nowhere. Why does WWE have a wellness policy, honestly?
That is a great question. I don't know. I mean, it is sports entertainment.
It's sports entertainment. I mean, it sets a bad precedent if there's not one. But I'm pretty sure Randy Orton's gotten around it a few times that's been, like, noted.
Yeah, and there was the thing a couple years ago where Roman Reigns violated the wellness policy, and then they built his suspension around to make sure he came back for a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so it's really a joke, but
yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's necessary for something like WWE.
It does. I mean, Primo, honestly couldn't even tell you the last time Primo was in a televised match.
Yeah, so that's funny. Are they just cutting his pay for the next 30 days?
It sucks for him, but I mean, he's
going
to probably spend the next 30 days in the back anyways.
He might be on the, like, house shows or something like that. So
that is true.
Yeah, because you forget just watching WWE that they run a show almost every day. It's absurd how hard these guys work.
It is insane, and they're in a new city every single week.
Every couple days, honestly, with the house shows.
But Robert Roode's WWE career has been a little disappointing. I don't know if they were actually going to do something with him and Ziggler and the tag team that they were starting to form, but
never going to find out now.
Yep. So both of them suspended for the next 30 days. So let's get into the actual wrestling content. We are going to review the Raw shows for the 9th, January 2nd, and the 9th. And the biggest thing that's come out of the last 2 weeks is Seth Rollins is now a heel.
It's fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
some people just aren't good faces. Some people aren't good heels. Seth is a lot better as a heel. And he's
Yeah.
a lot better with someone behind him. Like, the Authority was annoying, but he was better as the Sellout. He was better with the Authors of Pain. I love the Authors of Pain with Seth Rollins.
I'm a huge fan of the Authors of Pain,
I like the
and
Authors of Pain. I feel like they need some kind of like smaller mouthpiece, mostly because of the language barrier. But
yeah,
I think that just makes them that much more scary if they're muscle for some bigger plan.
yeah, and so I really like the way that they set this up. 2 weeks ago, they Kevin Owens was trying to figure out why the Authors of Pain attacked him, and Seth Rollins happened to leave right beforehand, so he was thinking there was some sort of correlation with the two. Um, so fast forward to this week, Kevin Owens brought out a steel pipe. Seth Rollins came out to help. Kevin Owens didn't want his help, and then Kevin Owens runs to the back, sees a black car roll up, starts to beat the car with a lead pipe, thinking the ELP's in it. Realizes nobody's in the car, turns around, the ELP beats him up, and then the back door of the car opens to find out that it's Seth Rollins, who was in it all along.
I've loved the last 2 weeks with Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I really liked Seth Rollins' town meeting with everyone, slowly walking out on him, and he's like this delusional leader of Raw. I like him as the leader of the Authors of Pain. I really like the reveal that he was in the back of the truck. Kevin Owens has been on fire. His little segment with Mojo Rawley,
Yep.
and Sami Zayn, who now has his managerial license, which explains why a SmackDown superstar was on Raw. Which, I mean, I like that for continuity.
Yeah.
He's now a manager. He's essentially been a manager. He hasn't won a match in the year 2019, I don't think.
No.
Which I'm not sure if he's really going to be a serious wrestler in a wrestling role ever. I don't know how.
I know he spent a lot of the year managing Shinsuke.
Yeah, he spent a lot of the year managing Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's had various injuries, and they also can't take him to Saudi, so that probably loses in favor with Vince.
That is a great point.
As much as I hate Crown Jewel, it's one of the big pay-per-views now.
Yeah. It's one of their big money makers.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, Kevin Owens, he's just been on fire recently.
Yeah. That
He's had
Mojo
some really good
Rawley.
promos.
Mojo Rawley said anyone's tough with a steel pipe, and then he threw the pipe at him. He caught it and stunnered him, and then beat the hell out of him with a pipe. That was fantastic. I've been calling him Stone Cold Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I wouldn't jump the gun that far, but he's definitely on his way using the stunner. He's a really good promo.
He's a great character.
Kevin Owens is a guy you can use because of his promo skills. He could really be a face or a heel.
And like what I said with Seth not being a great face, Kevin Owens is good at both.
Yeah.
Kevin Owens is a great face and heel, and the thing with that is it's not even too different of a character. It's kind of like a thing that The Miz has, where pretty much since I've been watching wrestling, The Miz has been the same character, but he's played face, he's played heel, and he's still an interesting character.
Yeah, well, Kevin Owens he's kind of like you said, he's kind of like a Stone Cold in the sense where he's going to be an asshole as a face or a heel.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to flip between both. And just one last point on the segment. I really like that they're using the AOP as Seth Rollins' bodyguards of sorts.
Yeah.
Because I just remember his last heel run when he was when he was the champion with the Authority and J&J Security. He came off as like really weak and slimy because you had Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble coming out to help you.
Yeah.
Whereas now you've got Razor and Ramon, who are these two massive dudes who are literally going to beat the crap out of you.
Oh yeah, the AOP are great, but I mean them being muscle, almost corporate muscle for Seth Rollins is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, Seth Rollins he's a really good chicken shit heel. He's amazing when he can run away from people.
Yeah.
I saw a compilation where he was the champion of just him running away, and it was hysterical, and he's really good at that. But, like, there's going to be some point in time where he runs out of the ring and he runs away. And you know the play in basketball where it's like the elevator doors is going to be that with the AOP, and that's going to be beautiful. That's going to be amazing.
So yeah, Seth Rollins is now a heel.
Kevin Owens
Kevin
is the
Owens is turning
biggest
into a
face in the
monster.
store in
Yeah,
his company.
I would say he's the biggest face in the company right
No,
now.
he's not, but he's rising. They're giving him
He's
something to do, and he's knocking it out of the park.
yeah, he's turning into a star. Their whole feud is looking really, really good.
Yeah.
So on to the next segment I want to talk about.
Oh boy.
The Kabuki Warriors, who are the Raw Women's Tag Team Champions, have this Sunday are facing Charlotte and Becky Lynch at TLC, and this has come from the last 2 weeks. They have faced both Charlotte and Becky Lynch in handicap matches, and I want to get your thoughts on this because both of these matches have seemed to have gone around 15 minutes, and to me, it's just a little crazy that these two dominant women in Asuka and Kairi Sane, who are the tag champions, and just principle itself, it's a 2-on-1 match. It's taking them pay-per-view amount of time to beat Charlotte and Becky.
I mean, on top of that, I don't think that your tag team champions, even if it was Charlotte and Becky as a team, should have too much of a problem beating two individual people. You're kind of burying the concept of tag champions in that way.
Yep, that's a great point. So, Kabuki Warriors beat Charlotte last week. Kairi Sane hit an insane elbow and got the pin. And then this week they faced Becky. Becky won via disqualification.
And they put Becky through a table.
Yep. Asuka hit Becky with a chair, and then they put her on a table, and Kairi hit the insane elbow, and then the Kabuki Warriors attacked Becky in the back, and so Charlotte and Becky were both sitting on the trainer's table. Asuka challenged both of them to a match, and they were like, let's do it. And the match is going to be a tables, ladders, and chair match.
And Becky and Charlotte are going to win, and it's going to be unfortunate. Oh.
How extreme do you think the match gets?
I mean, it'll be a pretty good match. Someone will fall off a ladder. They're four really good wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like Charlotte's the weak link here, and that's like she's still pretty good, especially with high spots. She does well with.
Oh yeah.
The thing with Charlotte is when it's bad, it's really bad, but when it's good, it's great.
Yep. And I've noticed they've been allowing the women to, especially chairs, use weapons recently a lot more.
Yep.
I know the Sasha, Becky, and Bailey feud used quite a bit of chairs, and now I'm using it now.
I mean, in NXT, Mia Yim took probably the nastiest bump I think I've ever seen in my life off of a ladder to the outside. The way the camera was set up, you didn't see how she fell, so you didn't see that there was a table breaking her fall, and she landed like on her neck. It was brutal.
Yikes.
Yeah. I mean, also in NXT, Dakota Kai beat the hell out of what's her name, Tegan Knox, with her knee brace and the cage.
Oh yeah.
That was a great turn. That story is great. I like that, but we'll get to NXT later. But yeah, they're letting women be more extreme, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I really like that because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you could put on 15, 20-minute wrestling clinic matches, but
there's value in weapons and brutality in wrestling.
Yeah,
especially to
WWE,
tell a story sometimes.
Fans are so trained to love weapons.
Oh yeah, especially, but I mean, it tells a story sometimes too. Like, did you watch the Kenny Omega Jon Moxley match?
Yes.
I thought the violence was really well done.
Yeah, that's when he put him through the glass table, right?
Oh, was it a glass table? I don't remember everything that happened. I remember they had like this big barbed wire sheet that they did a superplex off the ramp onto.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But back to Raw. I mean,
oh, go ahead.
You have these two that have been a coherent tag team unit that have been running through every tag team and bringing legitimacy back to the title belts. And then you have two people that don't really like each other to the point where their pride got in the way of, hey, I'm going to fight these two on one instead of letting you help me, that are now reluctantly agreeing to help each other. I don't think that they should win that match just because the Kabuki Warriors have been a team and they've systematically destroyed everyone in their way. I don't really think it should be too competitive just because the sum of the parts of the Kabuki Warriors should be better than the individual talents of Charlotte and Becky, but
That's a really good point.
I mean, it's not a WWE thing, though. WWE doesn't really put over dominant tag teams as such.
Yeah.
Although,
We'll see. I mean, I think personally the Kabuki Warriors are gonna pull it out
I
at
hope so.
TLC. Maybe that's more my heart than my head thinking.
I, I don't know. I mean, it's what I'd like to see, but they also don't know. I want to say April's when Kairi Sane's contract runs out, and they're concerned about her leaving, so
I'd imagine she resigns.
I hope so.
I'm just glad they're really doing something with her and Asuka because the last couple of years with Asuka have been kind of rough. Okay, and then the last segment of Raw that I really want to get into is Lana and Bobby versus Rusev. 2 weeks ago, Bobby Lashley had a match. I can't remember who.
Who'd he face? But Rusev came out and super kicked him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, Bobby Lashley had a match 2 weeks ago. Rusev came out and interfered, super kicked Bobby. But before the match, Lana had announced that she had officially signed a restraining order against Bobby Lashley. Against Rusev. So Rusev comes out, super kicks Lashley. Lana screaming and crying, yells for the cops to run out. Cops go to ringside, look like they're about to arrest Rusev.
They let him go, and Bobby Lashley bumped them, and that's why he got arrested. And then Lana slapped the cop, and that's why she got arrested. I realized watching it back yesterday.
Yep, so cops are just standing around ringside, not doing anything. Lana's freaking out, telling them, why don't you arrest him? I have a restraining order. Yada, yada, yada. Bobby goes to leave the ring, is pissed off at the cops, bumps one of them in the shoulder, so they arrest Bobby and then are taking him up the ramp. And Lana is just irate at this point and ends up slapping one of the cops in the face, and then quickly realizes her mistake, tries to apologize. And then Lana gets put in handcuffs, and they're both taken out of the building in handcuffs.
Weren't R-Truth and the Street Profits there, and they made some dumb face when they saw Lana get put in the police car? I think so.
Yeah, they were hanging in the background.
Yeah, which the more I think about it, the more terrible police work that is to arrest Bobby Lashley. He's got really broad shoulders, and I'm sure he didn't mean to hit the poor policeman. I mean, he's a big guy.
Well, I mean, the whole concept in itself was just really strange because
he violated
they give the policeman a mic, and he essentially says, "I understand that you have a restraining order against Rusev, but we're fans of wrestling. We watch the show, and we've seen what's been going on the last couple of weeks, and we're just not going to arrest him."
Yeah, which was real weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how restraining orders work, but I don't think you can really pick and choose how they work.
Yeah.
Also, I'm not sure if restraining orders, do they go state to state like that?
That is a great question. I would have to do the research, but I know.
Can we get a lawyer on the show?
Maybe down the line when we have a little bit more money. But I know Lana said that I think it was 50 feet that Rusev wasn't allowed to be within 50 feet of her and Bobby, and I mean he obviously violated that.
So yeah.
That was really strange, which led to this week, which we had a sit-down table segment between Lana and Rusev where they officially filed their divorce.
I love that it's been Jerry Lawler's divorce court the whole time. That's fantastic casting. But I really like this segment. Rusev looked fantastic the whole time. He was hysterical.
Yeah.
You can tell who's taking well to the divorce and who's not.
I remember Lana was talking about how she's the only one that loved Rusev, and then he let the fame get to his head, all the Rusev Day chants,
Rusev
and
Day. Rusev Day. Yeah.
yeah, which promptly led to a huge Rusev Day chant.
Rusev
And
Day is
then
over again. That's great.
she talked about how no one's ever gonna love him like she will, and he's never gonna find another girl like him. And then he quickly responded, "Why would I ever want to find a girl like you?"
It was really well done. I love that he came out in the Donald Duck T-shirt.
Yeah, that was awesome. So after officially signing the papers, Bobby came out. He was pissed just at the comments Rusev was making. They
About
started a
Lana.
brawl, which eventually ended with Bobby going through a table via Rusev, which sets up Bobby Lashley versus Rusev at TLC in a tables match.
I was very confused when they left the ring because the second I saw that it was a sit-down segment with a table, I knew someone was going through it. I was kind of hoping that Rusev would put Lana through the table. That'd have been pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't get why Lana was just watching in horror as Rusev put her boyfriend through a table. Like, do something.
Yeah, she's done that the last couple of
I
weeks.
know. I'm like, is she not going to do anything?
I don't think so. I guess not
She's just going
with
to let Bobby Lashley get destroyed?
pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the story, but I like Rusev versus Bobby in a TLC match in a vacuum. That's going to be a good match.
Yeah. The story's been really weird.
It's
I'm
been weird.
still surprised by how much Rusev has allowed Lana and Bobby to do, because I mean they're pretty much full on makeout
Oh,
on
yeah.
a weekly basis.
They,
On a weekly basis at this point.
yeah, I mean, it's surprising, but they're professionals. Whatever goes on, goes on. I'm surprised that I enjoyed the segment yesterday because for the most part, I haven't enjoyed the story at all. I thought it was stupid. Yesterday was really good, though.
Yeah, the storyline up to this point has been kind of disappointing. I mean, the story in general is just I don't know how much you're gonna get out of a Rusev versus Lana divorce story. So, but
Yeah.
Rusev is definitely making the most of it. His promos have been really good, and he's looking great as a face.
He's been a character that's worth watching every week, which is fun. He makes some funny faces.
Oh yeah,
He super kicked Bobby Lashley a couple weeks ago and had this huge smile on his face and then just ran off. Oh my god, he's been so animated. It's been amazing.
yeah.
If the
His
best thing to
reaction.
come out of this is that Rusev's back and is getting featured.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, Rusev coming up was one of my favorites
Oh
after
yeah,
coming out of NXT and being the Bulgarian brute.
the dude that rode the tank out against, was it John Cena at WrestleMania?
Yeah,
That
and
was
then lost.
the most generic wrestling storyline ever, by the way. America versus Russia.
Yeah,
But I mean, hey,
John,
it was a great entrance.
you're never gonna win when it's John Cena versus foreigners.
Yeah. I mean, this is John Cena who announced that Osama bin Laden has been captured and compromised live on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, he's he's their American
Or,
hero. So I mean,
or captured and permanently compromised is the language he used.
so I think that just about does it for
There's a
Raw.
couple more things I want to touch on for Raw. First,
Okay.
they announced Buddy Murphy versus Aleister Black at TLC. That's probably going to be a good match. They had both of them face some kind of jobber in Akira Tozawa and Zack Ryder. Eric Rowan faced local talent, and local talent did the smartest thing ever because Eric Rowan's brought this thing in a cage out, and local talent ran out of the ring, grabbed the cage, brought it all the way up the ramp, ran back to the ring, and after he did all this, the ref started counting. So local talent won this match in my eyes. That should have been a count out. But then Eric Rowan came back to the ring and kept, I don't know what his finish is called, but he kept hitting it on local talent over and over again until the ref stopped the match, and then he started screaming about how he tried to hurt someone he loved. We had a weird Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles U.S. title match, which at this point the U.S. title is kind of your main title because Brock's holding the other title and it's never around.
Yep.
So you had that match, and it ended with a Styles. I think it was a Styles clash they were going for. Either way, they botched it, falling. Ray almost fell on his head. Then Randy Orton slid in the ring, winked at AJ, and Ray rolled him up, and that's how Raw ended. They cut it really close because the lower third, like the thing in the bottom corner, came up when the show ends, and that's how you know the show's ending before they had the match finished. And they just got the pinfall off before they got pulled off TV. So that main event was pretty sloppy, which is weird because you'd think a Rey Mysterio versus AJ Styles match would go pretty well.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'd like a fleshed out story of that. And speaking of story, Humberto Carrillo beat Andrade via roll up. That started because there was a backstage interview with Carrillo, and Andrade started pushing him and yelling in Spanish. And then Zelina Vega started yelling at Andrade in the ring after the match ended. That was what I wanted to bring up because that could become something, and that'd be an interesting match.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in WWE where you could put two of them together and give them 20, 30 minutes, and it'd be a real good match, and I'd want to see it.
For sure.
There's so much talent in the company, and they do so much to waste it most of the time. It hurts so bad.
Carrillo versus Andrade could be really
That
good.
could be such a good
I really don't
match.
know much about the Carrillo guy, but
I don't know much, but from what I've seen,
I think
he's
I saw
really
one of
good.
his matches, and he, he's obviously really young, super athletic.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, him and Andrade both have a lot of athleticism between the two of them.
For sure.
They'd put on a real good match. I saw a picture of Carrillo before he was in WWE with a mask, and I have to say I like the mask better. He's got this really, like, super baby face to him.
Yeah,
and he's not an
really
intimidating wrestler at all because of it. I mean, the 2 weeks ago, what was the match? Ricochet, the OC versus Ricochet, Rey Mysterio, and Carrillo.
Yep.
Yeah, because the cruiserweights came to help Randy Orton.
And then Randy Orton told him afterwards, "I don't need your help."
I don't need you. Yeah. So anyways, that was Raw and me rambling about Raw.
And then I just want to make one final point about Raw. I really hope that they do something with his Eric Rowan gimmick, because I think we're going on over a month where he's just faced a jobber. Said jobbers tried to peek at what's inside the cage that's covered by
the cloth
a blanket.
And
yeah, and then Eric Rowan gets pissed off, squashes him in 2 minutes, and then takes the cage back to him and takes the cage to the back, and then starts saying some like really creepy, like lovey-dovey stuff to it.
What if it's Hornswoggle?
That'd be really hard because it's a tiny cage, but
I mean, they can fit something in there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I don't want to try to think about what it is because no matter what, it's going to be something stupid and disappointing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably won't.
Eric Rowan's storyline isn't off to a great start.
When the Wyatt family went down, all of them went downhill.
Yeah.
And we're finally getting to see something out of Bray and Luke Harper. Maybe Rowan will get something.
I'm glad Rowan's getting a solo run. I know Vince really likes him because he's the prototypical
Vince guy, yeah.
But his solo run really isn't off to a great start. So
no, hopefully something happens. Probably won't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But anyways, that will do it for Raw for the last
2
couple
weeks.
We
have to be more consistent so we're not jamming 2 weeks of Raw into one weird, incoherent ramble.
We'll get it together.
Yeah.
This is our first run.
Exactly. On to SmackDown?
Yep, Friday Night SmackDown. Main thing I really want to talk about was the actual main event of the show, which was Dolph Ziggler versus Roman Reigns.
Someday Dolph will get an actual push.
Which ended with Dolph Ziggler nearly picking up the victory, but of course Roman wins. And then afterwards, Roman was attacked by Dolph Ziggler, Baron Corbin, and a security team which was holding up Roman.
Corbin's throne, yeah.
Yep, Corbin's throne. That's right. They put handcuffs on Roman. Put the handcuffs over the ring post so Roman couldn't use his arms, and then proceeded to pour dog food over him.
I can't think of a single time other than this where someone's been handcuffed and it's been some kind of joking thing.
Yeah.
Most of the time when someone's handcuffed, they get brutally assaulted. The time that comes to my mind is from the WWE 12 Road to WrestleMania, where they handcuffed Triple H to a cage and destroyed his knee and he was out for a year.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
was such a
And
great
then
storyline, by the way. We could do a podcast on video game retroactive. But
and
yeah,
then I also remember Randy Orton versus John Cena in an I Quit match. I can't tell you what the pay per view was, but I know Randy used basically did the same premise, handcuffed Cena over the ring post, and then he was just like sitting there, and they took a kendo stick and just like wailed on his stomach for like 30 shots. It was brutal.
oh yeah, there's all kinds of brutal handcuff things. I mean, in AEW, Chris Jericho versus Darby Allin, Chris Jericho duct taped Darby Allin's hands behind his back, and that's pretty much how he won. Darby Allin put up a fight, which was impressive, even after having his hands taped. Johnny Gargano versus Ciampa. Ciampa would get handcuffed a couple of times. He won one. He won both of those matches because Gargano just got overly pissed at him. But like these were brutal beatdowns.
Yeah.
That feud was great because I don't think I'll ever see another time where a man's going to be handcuffed to the stage, getting kicked in the head, and the crowd's chanting "You deserve it" the whole time. It was that feud was something else.
Yeah, the feud was really good. Um, Anyways, back to
They were
this
pouring
feud.
dog food on him. Like, why? I mean,
Yeah, that's
I get
just
it, and it's like if it was just something subtle, like the dog mascot was dumb, but it wasn't this bad. Where like I get that he's the big dog, but come on,
yeah. This is like a jobber level
it feels
antics,
it feels like an elementary school bully thing. Like, come on,
right? I mean, this is Roman Reigns we're
it's
talking about,
Vince
who's
McMahon written all over it. This
pretty much become the
is
poster
Drake
child for
Maverick stealing
WWE.
Bobby Roode's jacket and
I
pissing all
saw
over
the
it
reaction
levels.
afterwards. Nobody really liked the segment. Um, I mean,
Oh boy.
yeah, it was getting trashed pretty bad on social media. Um, and a Roman Reigns versus Baron Corbin feud really isn't that enticing to begin with, and so
What else happened on SmackDown? I don't know anything else that's happened on
oh,
SmackDown other than
real
what you wrote
quick,
down.
um, Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin will be fighting at TLC.
Is that just a regular match?
Yes.
Okay, thank God it's not a dog collar on on a pole match or whatever I thought. I could have sworn I saw a dog collar on a ladder match or something like that.
Oh my God. So the other big segment that I took away from SmackDown was Bray Wyatt versus The Miz, and this is regular old Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt. They had multiple segments throughout the night. It began with The Miz standing up for Daniel Bryan, who just got beat by The Fiend. And then Bray Wyatt appeared on the Titantron, and the Firefly Funhouse had a picture of The Miz's family. Then afterwards, The Miz is running to the back. He called Maurice, told her to lock the doors and make sure that her and their children are safe. And then he sees a picture of the same picture, but with Bray Wyatt's face on where the Miz is supposed to be, in on this table in like an empty room with the iconic Bray Wyatt like red glow. He picks up the picture, takes his sister Abigail, and yeah, so we're getting Bray Wyatt versus the Miz. Before we talk about the actual feud, what do you think of them just using Bray Wyatt and not the Fiend?
Uh, I I kind of like it. It adds another part to the character. It
Yeah,
it gives you a way to get the belt off of him eventually.
that is true.
I mean, I kind of hope the Miz absolutely destroys Funhouse Fiend or Funhouse with Bray. Just like completely establish him as not a wrestler.
That'd be weird.
You
It is.
have the best and worst wrestler in the same character.
It has been kind of weird. I kind of forgot, looking back at it, that they're using Bray Wyatt and not the Fiend. That these are supposedly two different characters. So,
It'd be funny if the Fiend had the Universal belt and Bray had the Intercontinental title. Then they could win the tag belts.
oh my god.
Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be crazy. But I like that they're using Bray Wyatt for this feud, especially with how the segments went down with on Friday, because the Fiend doesn't really say much. He just kind of beats you up.
Yeah, which, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
The Fiend doesn't have to say words.
Right.
I
He just takes
I,
13,000 stomps and then keeps getting up.
I still hate that they put the title on him so quickly. Like, I know he was the hottest thing in wrestling, but he's just a character that doesn't need the title.
Yeah.
My biggest gripe with the position WWE's in now is that your biggest titles are not really attainable. So now your roster,
Yeah.
and you haven't built your Intercontinental or US title up to something where everyone's striving for it, like what your main title should be.
Right.
They're in a real weird spot with that. We have zero notes about our Intercontinental champion or our US champion on our page right here.
Right. I mean, AJ is doing.
AJ's not the champion.
Oh yeah, Ray's the champion now.
Exactly. Do
I forgot he dropped the
you know
title.
who the Intercontinental champion is?
I honestly
I
couldn't tell you off the top of
believe
my
it's Shinsuke. Let me Google this. Yeah, because Sami Zayn just presented him a new title. I believe it's Shinsuke Nakamura.
That's right.
Yeah. But, like,
Yeah.
the titles don't mean much. You know who both of the tag champs are?
I know the New Day's the SmackDown.
New Day's the SmackDown. War Raiders are the Raw
And the
title holders.
Raw is.
Or,
Is it the Revival?
Viking Raiders.
Viking Raiders, that's right.
The Revival are the number one contender, and I believe have a match with New Day.
Yep. They're facing New Day at TLC.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's like titles don't matter, and I remember when I used to, like, when I was first getting into wrestling, I could tell you who every champion was and who the last one was and who all the contenders were, but right now it's really in the background.
Yeah.
Like, who on Raw is going to beat not Roman, what's his name? Brock, and who on SmackDown is going to beat The Fiend.
I don't know who's beating the Fiend.
I mean, I've seen some decent fantasy book things where it's someone like Aleister Black and some, not paranormal, but like subhuman thing.
Yeah, the issue with the Fiend is that you can't just beat him in a straight up wrestling match. Where at least with Brock, I mean, you could at least make it believable.
Yeah,
to
that
a
someone
point where,
could.
like a Seth Rollins or a Kevin Owens beats him.
Yeah, The Fiend. I mean, you could have John Cena come back.
Yeah,
In WWE canon, no one beats Cena.
Yeah, that is true.
Interesting point with The Fiend, though. There's everyone The Fiend feuds with sort of reverts back to a previous rendition of their character. Finn Balor's back in NXT. Seth Rollins is heel again, and Daniel Bryan's back on the Yes Movement.
Oh,
Which, I mean, I read a lot of Reddit, and that's where I get these things from, but, I mean, there's some subtleties here.
Yeah. As far as the rest of SmackDown goes, there really wasn't much to it.
Is Cain Velasquez on SmackDown?
No.
Is he
He
not?
hasn't been there for a while.
He hasn't been there, but is he technically a SmackDown superstar?
I guess so.
I think I saw that he needed surgery. I hope he comes back with a mask because he's done a whole lot of lucha stuff.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I hope he actually comes back and embraces that. I hate the whole Cain Velasquez, how they introduced him. And then they
really
just brought him in to lose to Roman. Or not Roman, Brock.
Brock, yeah.
I think Roman's in a pretty decent spot. I think they should put the IC title on Roman.
Yeah, I'd like
End
that.
this stupid Corbin stuff and then make him a gatekeeper since we have superhuman champion. Champion.
Yeah, I would like that. So, as far as the rest of SmackDown went, Alexa Bliss beat Mandy Rose in a really bad match. The only thing, Mandy Rose is not a good worker.
No, but I like
Pretty much.
I like the Alexa Bliss Nikki Cross tag team though. I think that's a good pairing.
Yeah,
I like
I
they
like
were
that
just sort of thrown
Alexa's
together
facing
and then they've grown to be actual friends instead of just Alexa manipulating and turning on her.
yeah, and she's done well ever since she returned to action
She's
last week.
Yeah, she's not a great wrestler, but she's a good character. She's a good promo.
Yeah. The Revival won a triple threat tag team match to face the New Day at TLC for the titles.
I mean, it's going to be a good match because you have good wrestlers. I don't necessarily love that Kofi's in a tag team and hasn't looked for any type of revenge after losing the belt to Brock.
Yeah, he's kind of in a weird spot with Xavier Woods out.
They could
So
do,
they kind of
yeah, they kind of had to force him into that because they wanted them to
they
be tag
need
champions.
him
Yeah,
to work tag matches so Big E has something to do.
yeah. I mean, but you could do if you somehow didn't have the belt on the Fiend, you could have Big E. I mean, I think they'll give Big E a main title run at some point.
Yeah,
The guy's too great
I'm
not
hoping
to.
so. I'm
I
hoping
hope so. I mean, you could do kind of like how the Undisputed Era is now, where Adam Cole is the NXT champion and Roderick Strong's the North American champion, something with that. With what belt Smackdowns? Is that the WWE Championship? I don't even know who has what
Yes.
championship. Yeah, you could do something where Big E's the WWE champ and Kofi's in the mid card title race or something like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, I don't think they need to be in the tag picture, even though New Day's been a staple of the tag picture with Woods out for a year.
That's what I think. I think because they've been so successful as a stable for so long that
I want to see them both have.
one. I mean, they're going to continue to make money, so they're really, from a money standpoint, it doesn't really make sense to split them up. But two,
Yeah.
I think that Vince is a little scared to put them out on their own.
Yeah. I don't want to split
'Cause
them up, though. I just want them to be like solo competitors with their friend in their corner.
yeah, I would admit, as great as the New Day is, I'm I'm just a huge Big E fan. I would love to see him as a solo act again, because his first run as like Dolph Ziggler's bodyguard when he first got called up was so bad, and I really wasn't watching NXT back then when he was wrestling, but I just heard he was amazing as a singles competitor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've only ever seen him since he got called up from NXT, so I'm not entirely sure. But, I mean, he looks like a guy that'd be a great singles wrestler. Just some of the stuff he does in tag matches are crazy.
Yeah. And then there really wasn't else much to SmackDown. Lacey Evans beat a jobber, and then Sasha and Bailey attacked her afterwards.
Sasha and Bailey will eventually have a payoff.
I hope so.
They will.
And then
Is it finally going to be Sasha's big win?
Man, I hope so.
She doesn't have any huge wins since being called up from NXT, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean she had a feud with Charlotte where they would trade the title every 2 or 3 weeks, but
So they could push Charlotte closer to Ric Flair's record.
yeah. And then the only other segment on SmackDown was the Elias, Dana Brooke, and Drake Maverick, where
Whatever.
Drake Maverick shot a shot at Dana Brooke.
What?
Elias came in, who's a face now, which is a little surprising. Played a song about how
He banged Drake Maverick's wife.
yeah, and Drake Maverick was wondering what Dana Brooke saw in Batista that he didn't have, and so Elias was telling him how Batista's tall and you're short, and he's a millionaire, he's jacked, and you're not.
Wasn't there a Dana Brooke and Otis thing for a while, and now the Batista thing is here?
No, Otis has always been with
Oh, Mandy Rose, not Dana
Mandy
Brooke.
Rose,
They're both
yep.
blonde. I
Yep.
don't know the difference.
Yeah, there's a lot of blondes.
So we're gonna get the Liv Morgan makeover. Is that gonna be any different than Emelina, which never happened?
I hope so. Yeah, I forgot about that too. They had a little vignette for
Yeah.
Liv Morgan returning soon. I know they've been. I mean, she hasn't been on TV for months, so I'd imagine they've got something planned for her.
Yeah. How long has it been since Nia Jax had surgery?
I'm not sure.
It was around when
It's been a
Becky
while.
Lynch's first push. She broke Becky Lynch's face, so it was a little after that.
It had to
It
have
was
been either late 2018 or the beginning of the year.
double ACL surgery, if I'm not mistaken. So
So she's got a little bit more time.
yeah,
So yeah, I think that just about does it with the main card, the main shows for WWE. I know you want to talk a little bit about this week's NXT.
I think Matt Hardy announced that he's not continuing with WWE today.
Oh, okay.
If you check, I mean, it's just me reading into a tweet of his that was just put in the chat. He said, "I needed to return to WWE to finish in the right way. I didn't want 2010 to be my finale. I returned in the most epic way and repaid my debt. I waved the WWE flag with pride, worked hard to be a model employee, and my conscience is clear and I'm at peace." So,
That's good.
yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I'm kind of interested in what Matt Hardy would do now because he does like the mannerisms of Team Extreme Matt Hardy, and then he does the delete motion. So I would be kind of
Yeah,
interested in that.
that's really weird.
I mean, it
Um,
kind of fits the broken Matt Hardy multiverse thing, though.
that's true.
But on to NXT.
Yep.
War Games. I didn't watch it because they stopped putting pay-per-views on Hulu, and I didn't realize that. But what I saw were some insane bumps. I saw that crazy moonsault off the top of the cage from Io Shirai. I saw the end
Yep.
of the Undisputed Era versus Team NXT match. I don't remember what the rest of that card was, but Keith Lee is an absolute star. He
Yo,
he had
that
a
dude.
he had a great Survivor Series weekend with Takeover and then Survivor Series where he dapped up Roman, and then he pushed Adam Cole into like the third row, and then he popped up behind Finn Balor. But the big things that have happened that I can think of off the top of my head, the women's storyline with Dakota Kai turning on Tegan Nox, and now she's probably the second most badass woman in the company next to Io Shirai, where she beat up on Tegan Nox and stole her knee brace, and now she comes out to a black and white video of her beating up on Tegan Nox, and she holds on to Tegan Nox's knee brace, which
That's so
is
good.
absolutely fantastic. Anyway, she came out. I forget what the original match was. I think it was her versus Rhea Ripley, but then Mia Yim came out and beat the hell out of her, and they got out of the way for the 6-man tag match that was Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, and Tommaso Ciampa versus Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, and the not hurt member of the tag champion team. And that match was going well, and then Finn Balor came out, and I forget who he drop kicked into the ref. So he was interfering unchecked, and the ref didn't know he was out there, and he was gonna kick. I think it was Ciampa, but Keith Lee popped up behind him and slammed him and hit him with the spirit bomb.
Yo.
Bro, that was a gift too. Yeah, he's been
Yeah.
everywhere. But he did that, and then I think Adam Cole hit Keith Lee with his Shining Wizard, if I'm not mistaken, to the back of the head, and Keith Lee
Yep.
kicked out, and then he pinned him 1, 2, 3. Which I mean, I like that finish because it puts Keith Lee over even more. But I wouldn't have minded if Adam Cole won like that, just because that's an Adam Cole type of win. It reminded me
Yep.
of before, I think it was Takeover New York, when Ciampa was hurt and had to relinquish the title. They had a 5-man match that was Ricochet, Aleister Black, Matt Riddle, Adam Cole, uh, Ricochet, and someone else to face Johnny Gargano for that title. Ricochet
Yep.
was pinning someone, and it was like one of those pins where he's practically sitting up, and they got the 2 count. That match was great because there were no kickouts in that match. It was just finisher. Someone breaks up the pin back and forth the whole time. But Ricochet
Nice.
had one of those like roll up pins where he's practically sitting on the guy, and then Adam Cole hit him in the back of the head with the final shot and finished it that way. And it just feels like Adam Cole's thing is stealing wins that way. So I wouldn't have minded if he won off of a Finn Balor interference and then kicking him because Keith Lee was distracted by Finn Balor.
Mm.
But that match happened, and because of that interference, what's his name? William Regal came out and said that next week we're going to have Tommaso Ciampa versus Keith Lee versus Finn Balor for a number one contenders match. And I
Yep.
don't necessarily know who gets that win because Keith Lee's been on fire. But Tommaso Ciampa's return was, and his whole time being back, he's just been focused on getting Goldie back. And
Mm-hmm.
Finn Balor's also had a pretty interesting return to NXT. I don't think it's going to be Finn Balor because I think they want him and Johnny Gargano to have a match for the title of the face of NXT, sort of, to say. Because that's kind of
Yeah.
how he came back, and then Johnny hurt his neck.
I'd
And
agree with that.
And I think they're going to try to get him back with that, depending on how bad Johnny's neck is. But I think they might give it to Keith Lee.
I would have to agree.
I think they give it to Keith Lee because I think they're building up to a bigger story to get Baylor or Champ of the title. Both of those guys are going to do something with Johnny Gargano, I feel like, before they touch the title.
For sure. I mean, Keith Lee's just...
And Keith Lee's on fire.
Yeah, he's one of the hottest guys in WWE right now.
He's probably...
I mean, he beat Seth Rollins at Survivor Series.
Oh, yeah, he pinned Seth.
Pinned him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's just...
He's absolutely on fire, yeah. And he's putting out some kind of viral gif every week.
For sure. He's become a fan favorite.
And, I mean, he's a real entertaining guy to watch. He's a big guy who leapfrogs over people, and his finish is a big power bomb. I thought for a while they were going to put him in a tag team with Dijakovic or Matt Riddle, but I'm perfectly okay with him just pushing him to...
he doesn't
I don't know if he beats Adam Cole, though. I think what they're going to end up doing is having all the Undisputed Era drop the title in the same pay-per-view. So I don't think they're going to have him win it on NXT TV.
I can see that.
It's probably going to be by interference, but...
I could see that.
NXT needs tag teams, though. That tag division's kind of weak.
Yeah, it really is.
I can't think of anyone that's contending with the Undisputed Era right now.
I can't really either.
I can't think of another tag team there, which is funny because they had a real strong tag division.
Well, I mean, NXT's
putting out great stuff as usual. That's about all I have for NXT.
Main event card stacked. Keith Lee's awesome.
I don't remember anything else off of that show. There's this dude who does like a bow and arrow thing towards the Titantron, and then his name shows up in flames, and it looks pretty cool on NXT.
That's actually a really cool concept. You want to move outside WWE?
Yeah, I can't really think of many other WWE things. I had something, and now I forgot what it was, so... If that CM Punk's back with WWE, sort of. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, he's on late night talk show.
What's it called?
Backstage, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch it, but I see his segments, and he's pretty entertaining. He's always going to be a good promo, and it's nice to hear him talk about wrestling.
Yeah, and Renee Young is a really good talker too.
Renee Young is going to do more than just WWE. She'll be on some football or basketball pregame show. She's a great host.
Really talented. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I like WWE Backstage. It's just on at an awkward time that I don't remember it's on ever. It seems like something really I'd watch while falling asleep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool little show. I like that they put the segments up on Reddit. But you think he ever wrestles another match in WWE?
I don't know.
I don't think he wants to take another bump ever.
I don't think he does, but just the fact alone. I mean, he works for Fox. He doesn't work for WWE.
Yeah.
But just the simple fact that he's even on a show that talks about WWE is like huge.
Oh yeah, it's a step in the direction towards it. He's probably my favorite wrestler ever, so I'm all for it.
Yeah. And I mean, we were just. It kind of sucks because he was the star in like a really dry era of WWE.
He was the star when I was first getting into it. That's my guy.
Right after he left is when is really when WWE changed, and you could definitely thank a good portion of that to Punk. But
yeah,
we were robbed of so many good matches, like him and AJ, him and Ambrose,
yeah.
Bryan.
I don't think we'll get AJ, but we could still get some decent matches if he comes back in like a year or two.
For sure.
I mean, Punk versus Adam Cole.
Oh,
Punk versus a lot of those NXT guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's a roster full of great workers that Punk would have a blast with.
If he comes back, I'd want him to come back as a faction leader. I wouldn't want him wrestling night in and night out.
Oh yeah, for sure. He wouldn't come back
to be wrestling that ridiculous schedule. No. The thing with him is he was an indie guy before indie guys were cool.
Yeah.
Like he came, and now we have the whole indie roster that is NXT.
Yeah.
And they're like not a shot at him, but like these guys are all in freak shape. Punk was never really in like super crazy, ridiculous shape,
No.
which is part of what made him that much more of a draw.
Yeah, 'cause, I
I
mean,
love
he
Punk.
looked like an everyday person.
That one of the first pay-per-views I remember was that 2011 Punk versus Cena Money in the Bank.
Oh
I
yeah,
watched
that was
that match.
iconic.
I watched the match back. The match really wasn't like anything special, but just everything surrounding it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it being in Chicago and how hot the crowd was,
hmm
and
Like it was
him
just a
winning, and
generic John Cena match for the most part, but he won it. And then he walked out. It was such a great match, just because of everything around it, more so than just the match itself.
yep.
He's back. I mean, if he wrestles another match, is it in AEW or WWE?
I think WWE for sure.
I'm so disappointed that Randy Orton re-upped his contract. I'm so disappointed. I mean, they killed my dream of putting him with a revival because I want him in a tag team in some way. I hope
They were
when
actually doing well together too.
I hope when John Cena comes back, we get a John Cena Randy Orton tag team run.
That'd be
That's
nice.
the only thing I want out of anything in wrestling ever. I think that, I mean, part of it's because I think that the RKO would work really well with any tag move ever. And you could
Yep.
just do a lot with Randy Orton in a tag team.
Yep.
And wouldn't a superpowers team of Cena and Orton be really cool?
That'd be nice. Yeah.
It'd be just, I mean, but they'd both be working a part-time schedule. Off topic. Let's move on to AEW.
Yep.
They have
So
too many cults.
yeah.
There's
Brandy Rhodes.
two and a half cults.
Brandy Rhodes has made her own cult with Awesome Kong.
Chris Starlander did not join, or Statlander. She
No,
didn't join.
but
Brandy wanted her to, and then someone else volunteered.
yep. And so they picked somebody out of the
Yeah,
crowd.
they debuted Chris Statlander, who's this weird alien girl, and she beat their women's #1 contender. I mean, their women's
Yep.
division's really, like, I don't want to say it's weak, but it's weak. Their
It's definitely the
champion
weakest
hasn't
part
been
of
on. Oh yeah,
the
by
company.
far. Their champion hasn't been on TV in a little bit. There's really not much build to the champion other than she's the champion.
Yep.
I mean, there's really not a standout. They need Tessa Blanchard.
For sure. That's
I don't
when her
think
contract's up.
I-
There's gonna be a massive bidding war.
there's
for
going to be a bidding war, and I don't know if she leaves TNA. There's not going to be anywhere else that lets her. There's not going to be anywhere else that lets her do the intergender
Yeah,
stuff
I
she
mean
likes doing.
she's fighting for the men's
Yeah,
title. Right
she's going to be their main men's champion. I don't think anywhere else is going to let that. Imagine if she came in and they booked Chris Jericho versus Tessa Blanchard.
now. Oh my god,
Imagine if Tessa Blanchard takes the belt off Jericho.
that would be awesome.
That'd be amazing. I mean, we're not going to talk about it, but I wouldn't be too upset if she went and built the women's division in NWA. Just because Tully Blanchard was huge with NWA.
Moving on.
Anyways, yeah, back to AEW. Their women's division, they had that match with the debuting Chris Statlander. Never heard of her before, but it was a pretty decent match. And then Brandy came out,
Yeah, she looked good.
and I don't want Brandy on television doing anything but Valet and Cody. Just because I don't think she does anything wrestling related very well.
I mean, that's fair, Christian.
She's not really a good promo. She's not a good wrestler.
That's fair.
She's a good manager.
Yeah. So yeah, her and Awesome Kong got somebody from the crowd.
Shaved her head.
Shaved. Yep. The person's head, and I guess that's their new gimmick.
But they're not even the best cult in the company. The Dark Order, when they debuted, there wasn't any interest in them. I didn't care. But now that they're running these cult vignettes and hashtag join Dark Order, and they're actually tweeting people that tweet with the hashtag join Dark Order, telling them that their instructions are coming, and they actually feel like a cult, they could be worth something.
Yeah.
I think it was Marco Stunt looked like he was considering joining Dark Order. Someone's going to join Dark Order, and it's going to be great.
For sure.
What if it's Kenny Omega?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. What's Kenny Omega doing? He's on this big losing streak, and it's going to be a slow build, and
Nothing.
he's going to win. He's going to win the AEW title, but
Yeah,
it's
they're on a long-term build with him.
it's a slow build, and I don't agree with that though, because for someone like me who I haven't watched Ring of Honor or New Japan, I don't know who Kenny Omega is. I would have, if I were them, I would have tried to have built him as the superstar immediately just to establish, because I know I've seen some Kenny Omega matches. I know he's up there as one of the best wrestlers in the world, so
Oh yeah.
I would try to push that and have people behind Kenny Omega. But
Yeah. I think maybe because he's such a built-up star and has such a big name that they know that they could throw him in the main event picture at any time and it would work. So
but he's really like an afterthought when I think about AEW right now.
that is true.
Like, let
I
me
don't
see
know.
if I can pull up their power rankings again, because he's not in the top 5. I don't think.
I
Why don't they have a website?
that's
They're trying to be sports based, but like every professional sports company I can think of, you can find their standings, you can find stats, and they
Yep,
do a
that
good
is a great
they
point.
do a good job presenting stats. It's just like, why is there not somewhere where it's all collected?
That is a great point.
It it'd make everything so much easier. It'd make it more immersive.
To give them credit though, they do. I've noticed that they post full segments and matches on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, they do, and I mean they have AEW Dark, which is where they upload dark matches. Kenny Omega's 5-2.
There you have it.
It doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, I mean,
I just realized Kenny Omega wasn't on the show. Pac wasn't on the show. That's another person I forgot existed in this company.
yep.
They have a lot of like main event guys. Anyways, back to AEW and Dynamite and what went on. There was the Brandy Chris Starlander that
Yep.
happened. Jericho came out and cut another great promo. He's always going to be able to cut a great promo up until the
Yep.
day if he can't talk anymore.
He talked. Said he made a list of the wrestlers that he doesn't want to face, which of course the crowd popped for because of
Cody,
his.
because it was the list.
Yeah, and then he said, "This isn't 2016," and changed the name of the list to the Lexington of Les Champions,
Yeah, the LLC.
which he proceeded to name everyone he wouldn't want to face.
Cody,
Name drop
Moxley,
Cody,
AJ
Moxley
Styles,
about 30 times,
Moxley,
AJ Styles,
the Young Bucks, other Bucks.
um,
It was good
the
promo.
fat. It was like the fat guy in the sixth row who was eating a
Yeah.
hot dog or something.
Apparently, Jungle Boy was not on the list, but Marco Stunt and the Luchasaurus were.
Yep.
So we're getting not Marco Stunt. Thank God we're not getting Marco Stunt versus Jericho. We're getting Jungle Boy versus Jericho in a couple weeks.
Yeah, which would be really cool. I haven't really seen much of Jungle Boy pre AEW, so
I
it'll kind of
haven't
be
either,
like,
but he's got an interesting look. It'll be a nice introduction to him, which AEW, to their
yeah,
credit,
for
has done.
sure.
They've done a good job with building guys to be stars. They're doing it with Joey Janela right now. They did it with Darby Allin. They do a good job getting their guys in there and pushing them. But they have established stars, but they're not, like, their title picture's weird.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got to remember. I think we all have to remember that this is still a fairly new wrestling company.
Yeah.
So I think that they're trying to get everyone established first before
Yeah.
they start doing actual storylines. I mean, I could be completely off there, but
I mean, they're also waiting on not Marco Stunt, Marty Scurll's contract to
yeah, Mark
expire.
Scroll. I think he should be there very soon.
I think his contract's up, or it's up this weekend.
Yeah.
It's going to be soon.
I know the Young Bucks and Dustin Rhodes faced the Inner Circle to start the show.
That match, I don't like Young Buck matches.
They're very. I like watching them wrestle, but I can see why. They're very
Every
kind of
match is the
repetitive and
same, it feels like.
yeah, and
Every
it's all
match is
built
them
around
doing all
a
of their
super kick.
stuff. Yes. And
Yep.
they're good at what they do, but there's no holding back, which I mean I guess isn't a bad thing, but it's like why would I watch the
Right.
next Young Buck match after I saw this one?
That is
I
true.
mean this one it was good, but there's all three people are in the ring and I don't know who the legal man is after the first like 20 seconds of the match. And everyone's getting all their offense. And it was a good match, though. Dustin hit a really clean Canadian destroyer. They did this thing where Sammy Guevara was up on the top rope vlogging, and then he did a moonsault, and the Bucks hit him with a double super kick. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
I forget who
Then
got the
they
pin
had
there.
it finished with the double Meltzer driver, right?
Yeah, I think so. Which I don't know what effect the flip adds, or even the jumping part of it adds to the Meltzer driver, but
It looks cool.
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't get the point of a Canadian destroyer. Another tangent I'm going to go off on. Most of the time, it just looks excessive. My biggest gripe with a Canadian destroyer is Adam Cole's. I don't know what jumping off of something into it does.
That's a good point.
But, I mean, it's a weird looking move, but it looks cool. It just feels like it's overdone at this point. Everyone does a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Is
that
there
was a
anything
match.
else?
Who did Pentagon face? I forgot who Pentagon Jr. faced, but Trent faced. Oh, he faced Christopher Daniels. That match was pretty good
Yep.
because he put Christopher Daniels out with a pinched nerve doing the package pile driver on the stage before an SCU match, and that's how Scorpio Sky came out, and we got introduced to Scorpio Sky. But
Yep.
we had that match, and I think Christopher Daniels was looking like he was going to win, and then Ray Phoenix came in the ring and distracted him. And Christopher Daniels had this mic stand, and he kept going SCU during his entrance and pointing it out towards the crowd, and they'd say SCU back to him. So he had this mic stand, and Ray Phoenix brought it in the ring, and it got taken out. And Christopher Daniels went out to grab the mic stand, and he was like looking like he was going to hit Pentagon with it. And then he put it down, and the ref kicked it out of the ring. And while the ref's back was turned, Pentagon kicked him in the nuts and then hit him with the package pile driver, and that was the end of the match. So we're going to get something with the Lucha Bros versus SCU at some point.
Which would be nice. Those are, I mean, they're all great workers, and I love Pentagon and Phoenix.
There we go. Ray Phoenix versus Trent, question mark. It was a match. It was an all right match. The one spot I can think of was when Trent hit this pile driver thing, and Orange Cassidy thought he won, so he put his arm up, started walking to the back, and then just sort of slumped back to the corner when Ray Phoenix kicked out.
Oh my goodness.
It's all right. I mean, it's a good show.
Yeah, it's
Wednesday's my wrestling night where I care to watch wrestling. Monday and Friday, if I'm not doing anything, I'll turn on Raw or SmackDown, but I'll try to get out of my way to watch AEW or NXT.
yeah. AEW is definitely. It's kind of in a weird spot right now, but
They're building people.
yeah, like I said before, this is still a fairly new company, so
Yeah.
and I think everybody has faith in the people running that show. So
I mean, I have faith in it for the most part. It feels like, the super obscure indie clips you'll see where it's stupid things. It feels like a big indie show on a grand stage at times.
yeah,
Like, and some of it I like, some of it's just like, come on. Let's get on
yeah,
with
it
wrestling.
definitely
Sometimes they go
it
too
definitely can
far.
get a little bit too gimmicky.
Yeah. But I mean, they're still building a company, and they only had access to so many people.
Right.
Like, if they could have half the talent that WWE has, I'm sure they wouldn't be relying on nearly as many gimmicky things.
Yeah.
And some of it's fine. Orange Cassidy's great.
Oh yeah.
Orange Cassidy's one of the most over things in wrestling, and that's fantastic.
His gimmick is so stupid.
It's beautiful. The last match of the night for AEW was Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela. Jon Moxley's sort of been doing this I want to fight gimmick where it's been essentially an open challenge. Darby Allin opened it last week, and he hit his what I don't know what he called is his finish to the paradigm shift right now. He hit that off of the top rope, and now Darby Allin's hurt. And yeah, I mean it was a fluke thing. It was a fluke thing, and Darby Allin's going to be hurt a lot. Like just with the way he wrestles, he's going to be hurt a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
His finish is him jumping on his back, and he did that to the side of the ring and missed the guy at one point, and it hurt like hell. And he did it with a Cracker Barrel onto the steps. He's going to be hurt a lot.
Yeah.
I saw a GIF where he tried to do it, and Keith Lee just sort of shoved him out of the way once. It was hysterical. Keith Lee is so good.
Oh yeah.
But back to AEW. The show ended with Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela, where Joey Janela accepted earlier in the show. Joey Janela accepted his challenge backstage in an interview segment, and he just and Jon Moxley was like walked up after he was cutting this dumb promo about how I'm a bad boy, it's not going to be easy to beat me, and Moxley just walked up and like kids, and then walked off. And then they had their match. Moxley won, and then Jericho's music hit, and Jericho walked through the crowd like how Moxley does.
Yep.
And that's building something which I could see Moxley taking the belt off of Jericho.
I could too.
We didn't talk about Cody.
Oh yeah, he had a really good promo.
He had a great promo where he said he still believes in MJF. He wants to fight him, and then he started flexing all the expensive things he has. I think he said his watch is one of one, and I was like, whoa.
That's insane.
Yeah. He offered him a gift from Tony Khan. He offered him some Louis Vuitton shoes. It's like, Jesus, Cody.
Yeah.
Indie wrestling pays well. But, yeah, so, I mean, MJF, he's going to probably win the AEW title. If I wanted to go through we could do more segments that aren't just reviewing shows on future podcasts, like going through the AEW roster and writing off who's going to win the belt.
For sure.
But right now, don't really have time. Is that everything from AEW?
Yeah, I think that covered it all.
Look through their power rankings again. Yeah, that's everything.
All right, well, I think that should do it for this week.
We got one gotta go.
I mean, we could run. Yeah,
we could run through that. I want to know who your answer is because I have mine.
Okay, so the options are, if you don't know, one gotta go. It's a game where you're given 3 or 4 options, and you pick one person out of the group to go, which means that
they don't exist.
That person and whatever. Yep, that person basically ceased to exist. So for this week, we decided to do like comedy gimmicks.
We're starting off light.
Yep, we've got Santino Marella, Hurricane Helmsley, R-Truth, and Orange Cassidy.
I mean, I'm probably gonna go with Hurricane, but that one's tough just because he had a really good feud with The Rock, and that's the only real Hurricane thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Santino and R-Truth are goated, and Orange Cassidy is the hottest thing in wrestling right now.
Right. I think I'd probably have to agree. I'd probably get rid of Hurricane too.
I mean, I tried to start off.
He was just a little bit before my time period.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, the only thing I've seen of his is the feud with The Rock, which was pretty funny. But he doesn't have anything as memorable. Santino, through pretty much my whole time getting into wrestling, was the go-to comedy guy. I threw Hurricane in there because I couldn't think of a fourth comedy gimmick. Like, there's got to be someone better than Hurricane that I could have put in there. I don't know. Funkasaurus, no, because a lot of them are short. Like, Santino and R-Truth are unprecedented because they have longevity as comedy guys.
Yeah, it's really...
A lot of comedy gimmicks come and go.
I think they're kind of used to bury superstars when they don't want to use them anymore.
Yeah, I could see that. They do stupid things like when the Revival sprayed Uzi hot on their balls.
Oh my god.
I hate that they buried the Revival.
But you
Around
don't have. Go ahead.
around that time, I was rewatching DIY's Rise and Fall and that. So I was watching the DIY versus Revival matches, and then I turned on Raw and saw that, and
Yeah,
it was real conflicting.
that's quite the.
Yeah.
That's both ends of the spectrum, really.
Uh huh. Yeah, I mean, if comedy gimmicks in wrestling, the thing with that is you have to be somewhat subtle with it, because
For
you
sure.
can overexpose that, and then it becomes annoying.
Yeah, and you're usually dealing with. I mean, the whole pretty much premise of wrestling is two people are feuding because they have some sort of beef with each other. So.
Yeah, and with a comedy gimmick, you're just completely like you're almost. The whole thing with wrestling is that you suspend your disbelief, and you believe that
Yeah.
these two crazy athletes would go to killing each other over the title or whatever. And
Yep.
when you're a comedy gimmick, you put a cap on how successful you're going to be. I mean, if we were doing
Yeah.
all of wrestling, you could have put someone like Joey Ryan, I guess.
That probably would have been the best option.
Over Hurricane. Yeah, it's tough to find a fourth comedy gimmick because there's only so much that these guys do, and most of them don't have longevity. And Joey Ryan's never been in WWE, and that wouldn't work with WWE, where all of these guys could have done something in WWE or did.
Yep.
Because if you watch enough indie wrestling, you'll find something stupid. I saw a match where it was Orange Cassidy versus a robot. Orange Cassidy. It's not the only time, but I saw Orange Cassidy. He wound up and threw an actual punch, and he like broke his hand. It was hysterical. Yeah, but there's only some comedy gimmick. I mean, Adam Rose was sort of one,
Even then, he wasn't
but
on the level
no,
of the other three.
no. The other three are guys that made a career out of being a comedy guy. Like,
Yeah. We'll come up with
We'll
better
fi-
one guy goes in the
we'll
future.
have better one. We had a real good one, but
We'll save that for down
we'll
the
save
line.
that one for down the line. Yeah, we'll start off with something light.
So if you don't have anything else to add, I think that should do it.
Now that I'm thinking about it, did Santino ever have a title match? Like a main card title match, not the women's title? Because
He was IC champion for a while.
because I remember R-Truth had a WWE title feud with John Cena.
Yep.
And
Yeah, he
R-Truth might be the best out of all of these guys when it comes to a comedy gimmick, because he had actual like main event success with it.
Yeah.
With Little Jimmy.
I remember before Santino turned into a comedy gimmick, he was like a legit heel, and they put the IC title on him, and he was like obsessed with breaking, at the time, Honky Tonk's day streak with the IC title.
Oh boy.
And so they would like match him up with jobbers, and he had like this Honky Tonk meter that he would put on the jumbotron after winning each match, and it would like show how many days he needs to break the streak.
That's a good gimmick.
Yeah.
No, but I'm thinking about it. R-Truth, even when he was like in a somewhat serious feud or a serious role, he was still somewhat kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like he had a WWE title feud with John Cena, where he kept claiming that things were a conspiracy, and then he had a feud with with Little Jimmy. I'm still mad we never got a payoff where it was R-Truth versus Little Jimmy, where R-Truth tapped out in the middle of the ring. But no, I remember there was an R-Truth promo during, I think it was the John Cena program, where he was like, "There's a conspiracy, conspiracy," and I quote that to this day. R-Truth is fantastic. I used to have the Santino Cobra, like the arm sleeve.
Oh, I wanted one of those.
I had one. It goes over your hand. I played a game of flag football in it until I couldn't grab a flag with it because of it once. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't really have anything else to add. It wasn't actually a bad week of wrestling. Raw was good. NXT and AEW were up to their standards. Smackdown was forgettable. We're going into TLC. You excited for that?
Yeah, TLC's always a fun gimmick.
TLC's a good gimmick match.
Up to this point, they really haven't announced much, and
we aren't going to see either of the main titles defended.
Yeah. So
We aren't putting over the other titles as main titles.
that's also true.
Revival versus New Day should be pretty good. The thing is, with the talent on the card, most of the matches I could look at and be like, okay, that's going to be a really good match, but I just don't
It'd
care
be a
about
good.
most of them.
It's gonna be a good wrestling card, but it probably won't do much storyline wise.
Yeah, like Buddy Murphy versus Aleister Black's probably going to be a good match, but why do I care about it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if I think that's gonna do it.
I got nothing else. We went an hour and 30 minutes almost. Have fun.
Yeah,
I
hour
mean,
and a half on the first episode.
there's a decent chunk that you'll be able to edit out, so.
Yep.
Probably closer to an
so
hour or an hour and 10 minutes, but still, yeah.
this is gonna do it for the first ever edition of the No Sell Podcast.
The No Sell
We're
Podcast, formerly known as the Take a Bump Podcast.
Chill out. But we're gonna try to do this
At least once a week. Maybe
yeah,
once
try
every
to do it
other
at
week.
least once a week. We'll see.
We'll have guests on eventually.
Yep.
If you know any lawyers, I'd like to get clarification on the, what is it?
Restraining
order. There it is, yeah. We didn't even touch on being the elite this week.
Nope.
Which was being the inner circle. It was pretty entertaining. I loved it.
So yeah, you got anything to plug?
I mean, my Twitter handle at ignorantnetsfan. You can use my Robinhood link if I can find that and get a free stock. That would be appreciated.
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Texas Homeboy 1. You can follow the podcast Twitter. I'm sure it'll be something along the lines of No Sell Podcast or something when I create it.
Yeah, we got to get a podcast on Twitter. Tell your friends about it.
Yep. And
you can
you enjoyed this train wreck.
Yeah, you can donate to me on PayPal at paypal.com/Billy Dono13.
And thank you. And peace.